Black Clover has a really bad rap, probably because of the absolutely abysmal start that the anime had. I mean, let's be honest, the first dozen or so episodes were filled with unnecessary yelling, bad animation, and filler. But surprisingly, whether it has been the anime or the manga, Black Clover has become one of the most enjoyable series to keep track of during the past couple of years. I'll even go as far as to say that the way the series handles its pacing, characters, and consistency has made it one of the best series in Shonen Jump and manga in general. Firstly, I want to address what makes a series good or bad to me. Most people have probably already heard this saying before, but I'll say it again for the people who still don't understand. A story is all about setups and payoffs. Whether or not you personally like it doesn't really matter as to whether or not the story is objectively good. If you came into Black Clover expecting something revolutionary or never done before and you were disappointed, then that's on you. Because within the first 5 episodes, Black Clover already establishes that it's going to draw on classic tropes of shonen. It already has the dumb, loud, driven protagonist, the emo, quiet rival, the violent love interest, the loud and rowdy comrades, and a basic magic system if we're gonna be honest. Yeah, you're not gonna get anything mind-blowingly different out of this series because that's not what it promises. But what makes Black Clover good is how well it lives up to the expectations that it sets up for itself. The biggest strong suit of Black Clover is how well it sets up and pays off its plot points. Oh, there's some kind of lore involving this race? A flashback will happen sooner or later. Oh, there's some kind of conflict between these two characters? Well, it's definitely going to be resolved. Oh, there's some place out there that was mentioned in the story? Can't wait to visit that place eventually. What I'm trying to say is you can always safely expect the plot point to be completely fleshed out. Sometimes it's not even an important plot point. It could be something mentioned in passing 100 episodes ago. It's definitely going to be addressed. And not only are all the setups eventually paid off, but all the payoffs are set up, if that makes sense. Okay, in less convoluted terms, nothing that happens is bullshit out of nowhere. Everything that happens in the world of Black Clover makes sense because every event later on in the story has already been established to be possible by earlier events. Not only are the setups and payoffs consistent, but the quality is as well. In fact, I would actually say that the quality is constantly getting better throughout the story. If I had to rank the Black Clover arcs from worst to best, it would probably just be in chronological order, with the exception of maybe just a couple. You can't really say that about many series. So many of them have highs and lows, where some parts are just downright unwatchable. The reason why this is so great is because once you watch one episode, it's almost impossible to stop watching. Everything is constantly getting better, from the lore drops to the world building to the characters, which brings me to my next point. The characters on Black Clover are really good. I'm not gonna lie, they start out pretty bland, and some of them are still bland, you know. But you can really feel the emotions and work that the author, Tabata, puts into his character. Of course, before talking about all of the characters, you have to talk about the main character, Asta. Yes, Asta is annoying at first. His only redeeming quality in his introduction is his dream to become the Wizard King. He starts off as a main character that you don't like. But here's the thing, you aren't supposed to like him. Asta is meant to be an underdog in both position and personality. Slowly as the series goes on, not only does he get less annoying, but he also showcases the better side of his character. His positive outlook, his acceptance of others' fault, his unrelenting drive. Everything about him just forces you to root for him. Your opinion of him just keeps on getting better. But there's this one scene that just leaps his character forward for me. Minor spoiler alert, but I just have to talk about this scene since it's one of my favorites in the series. The setting is at the royal capital. Asta and the Magic Knights had just gotten back from a dungeon where they collected treasures for the kingdom. To reward them, the Wizard King hosts a buffet for all of the Magic Knights involved. But there's this tense atmosphere during the meeting. You see, everybody there besides Asta and Yuno were either royals or nobles. They didn't like that peasants were in their company. But despite the constant stares and insults, Asta isn't really fazed and even jokes about the situation. But Asta's mood changes once they start making fun of his friends. And once the royals begin harassing Noelle, Asta's character really shines.
You don't need to run away from people like this, knowing I'm gonna get results like no one has before! I'll do whatever it takes to become the Wizard King and prove you wrong!
It was at this moment I realized just how much being the Wizard King means to Asta. This isn't some goal that just comes from nowhere. Asta wants to prove to the world that the situation you're born into or the talent you inherit has nothing to do with what you can become. Even him reassuring Noelle in that moment just shows how caring he is of his Magic Knight squad. And speaking of his Magic Knight squad, it's not just Asta that is handled well in Black Clover. All of the other Black Bulls are as well. Noelle is not just some love interest that has no role except talking about Asta 24/7. She's a royal who cares about the citizens of the Clover Kingdom and displays her leadership by inspiring them. She has amazing fights and even better character moments in the story from beginning to end. Luck and Magna aren't just meatheads that only value fighting. They want to be role models for Asta to look up to and have a genuine bond with each other. Yami isn't just some badass teacher, but that is a lot of what he is, and it's really damn entertaining to watch, not gonna lie. He wants to make a place for misfits to feel like they belong, genuinely wants his squads to push past their limits, and wants them to succeed not just in their missions, but in life as well. And it's not just the other Black Bulls that are given care, it's every single character in Black Clover. Villains, side characters, and even the comedic relief characters get their moments later on in the story. Oftentimes in shonen, side characters get a really minimized role, or some are just forgotten completely as the series goes on. This isn't the case with Black Clover. All of the characters that were relevant in the beginning of the story are still relevant now in the manga. You don't have to worry about having a favorite side character that will fade as time goes on. Tabata will never throw a character away. Once he writes them in, you can rest assured that he will wrap their character arc up cleanly. Rarely do you ever feel that a character doesn't live up to their potential in Black Clover, because the author makes sure that the characters not only fulfill their roles, but they exceed your expectations for them as well. Black Clover handles its pacing a lot better than other series. There's almost never a rushed or slow moment in the story. For example, most other shows will take breaks between story arcs to provide either a conclusion to the previous arc or a setup for the next. Some shows will even take entire arcs to set up things for the future. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I do believe there is value in that type of setup, but Black Clover takes a unique approach to concluding the past and setting up the future. The conclusion of the previous arc usually acts as a setup for the next. Tabata combines the two, which allows the story to flow from arc to arc so smoothly you barely even recognize that we've already started the next. But even though some of the arcs are fast-paced, they never feel rushed. Tabata doesn't skip over important aspects of the story to get back to the action. He will fully flesh out important plot points, or he just won't inflate the story with unnecessary plot points to begin with. And while you can argue that not including many plot points in the story makes it less complex, that doesn't necessarily mean that it makes it worse. Like I said earlier, Black Clover doesn't sell itself as something that's complicated. In fact, it sells itself as something simple early in the story. 99% of the time, it's better to just have a simpler story than to try and fit a million things into a limited time frame and end up having to cut some things out by the end or just handle those things terribly. Tabata doesn't sacrifice pacing to make a more complicated or longer series, and that's a good thing. Although public perception says otherwise, Black Clover is a bona fide good series. It's full of emotional moments, some of them really uplifting and some of them really sad. But I'm gonna be honest and tell you that some of the criticisms are valid. The beginning is pretty jarring, especially for the anime, but it objectively gets better after the first 15 or so episodes. Even if you don't have the patience to watch the first 15 episodes, you can always pick up the manga and switch over after about 30 or so chapters. What I'm trying to say is, if you haven't at least given it a chance, you're missing out, because it is genuinely one of the most enjoyable series out right now.
We'll fight to see who will be the Wizard King, whatever it takes.
Hey guys, it's Moodly. I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It'd help a lot. Also, leave a comment if there's anything you liked about this video or if there's anything you didn't like. Any constructive criticism is greatly appreciated. Also, if you do read Jujutsu Kaisen, be sure to check out my video on Nanami, and be warned, it does have spoilers. Anyways, thanks again, and I'll see you guys soon.